Bye. Good luck. Thanks for helping me out.
And then you had mentioned a little bit early before you turned the camera on about the CAP program, but you didn't understand how you could do that in
right.
urban CAP.
Yeah,
and the example of Uruguay.
Yeah. Okay. The problem with the urban insurgency is it's such we think it's such a new phenomenon, and it still is. It's still in its infancy. So like in my frustration to study how do you fight an urban insurgency, I found a manual called the Urban Warfare Mini Manual of Urban Warfare, and this manual is basically like how to operate as an insurgent inside of an urban environment. And what they teach you in the manual is all you really have to do is create chaos. Now the thing about Uruguay back in the 70s is it was easily the most progressive, country in South America. Like it was going places. It had the best economy, and it was awesome. And it was going to be a bastion of democracy inside of South America. And the Soviets saw that as a threat. And so, some of Che Guevara's followers and those guys like descended upon this thing. And they were less than 10% of the population at any one given time. Like they estimate it may have been less than anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 people inside the populace. But their idea behind this was all you have to do is create so much chaos where the current democratic government becomes so oppressive that they become the enemies to the people, and the people will take anything over that. And so that's what they did. They robbed banks, they shot politicians, they locked down the police. So what had to happen is the democratic government, to get more control, had to become more and more oppressive. Create curfews, inspect people, search homes. Like just the democratic government became so oppressive that the people were like, we'll take anything. And then all the people who are creating the insurgency are like, well, communism, we wouldn't have any of these problems. Under communism, we'd be freaking great. And so it's one of these small historical examples that I will personally argue of where, like, you can win an insurgency without having to overthrow it with a military. You don't need a military. All you need to do is make the current government become so oppressive to where nobody wants it. And it's the way to overthrow it without ever having to do so. So, like, studying that's where I was like, okay, I need to look at robbing banks. I need, like, how do I secure this populace so much with me? Now, here's an interesting side note. I'll take you through the eyes of my battalion commander, Colonel Turner, who was in Ramadi from 2004. That was his third tour in Ramadi. He was there when the police stations were still up and running. And he remembers, like, they were trying to fight this thing. Like, trying to fight the insurgents coming in. And he remembers, like, listening to contact about police stations being burned down as the insurgents attacked them. And
this is interesting. I mean, Colonel Turner was battalion commander for 3-7 in the 05-06 tour, and then again in 07.
Yep. And he was there as division on Blue Diamond the tour before that.
Okay. So he was with the 1st Marine Division.
Yes. He was their G3.
In the G3 section, and so he was in Ramadi in that role.
Yes.
So that was really his third...
That was his third tour in Ramadi.
Okay. And so Blue Diamond is the 1st Marine Division.
It was. Moved to Fallujah.
Right.
But at the time it was.
At that time it was Ramadi, okay.
And so...
So do you think his situational awareness for that terrain...
Not that, like, not even just that terrain, but like the historical perspective. Like he told me once, like, because we were the first ones. I mean, everybody kind of paired up with a police station because that's kind of what 1-6 had done. They just moved the police to them, and like they were a big platoon, and it was a big base. Just operate out of our base, kind of philosophy. But like he said, like if we would have partnered up like this, and he said this towards the end, if we would have partnered up like this in 04, I don't think the insurgency ever could have got a hold on this place. He was just nobody was willing to do it.
So let's
in his opinion,
let's go into that more because we had this running debate, if you will. The position that Lieutenant Larson takes is that if you use the techniques you were using Ramadi 2 back in 04, that the insurgency never would have got going and you would have succeeded with those techniques at that time. But Major Quinn's take on that is that the situation was not would not have allowed for the techniques that were used in Ramadi 2 to succeed. In other words, he's arguing against that position. And it sounds like you're saying that if in 04, if you use the the techniques that were used in Ramadi 2 that you would have succeeded. So
here's the deal, and this is something that's important for everybody that like understand. It's like riding a surfboard. The wave has to be there. I don't care how good of a surfer you are. If there's no waves, you're not going to the beach. And so the problem is you've got to ride the wave when it comes through. Okay? And what I'm saying is, in '05 when they were there, the wave was not there. You know what I'm saying? The wave wasn't there. That took a different type of technique than what I'm talking about right now. In '04, it was there. The wave was there. The sheikhs tried to stand up. And the police tried to stand up, but nobody would stand with them. We were like, hey, your problem, Iraqi problem, not an American problem. And so the wave was there, and we didn't paddle into it. We just watched it. Okay. So, like, and that's what I want people to understand. Like, you know, I sat in on a hail and farewell, and it was like, 37's the best unit in the Marine Corps, hut, hut, you know, and I say all the time, like, Lima's the best company in the Marine Corps, hut, hut. Like, that's like, I want people to understand, like, anybody could have done what we have done if the wave was there. And 1-6 caught the wave. Like, 1-6 won this damn thing first. We just caught the wave after them. And God aligned things the way he did, and I say that like not like a Bible thumper, but like it happened perfect. They got extended to a perfect time to where they weren't ready to do what we did because they had been fighting kinetically, you know, for frickin' 6 months. Like, we could walk in without hardships and hate, you know, and like lost a brother, and we could walk in and just start holding hands and you know, get with the Iraqis. So it lined up perfectly for the Marine Corps in the United States of America and Iraq to make this thing work. So I'm going to tell you that these techniques can work if the wave is there, but if you assess it properly, again, if you follow, you know, the pyramid, you know, and you honestly reassess that pyramid, you can do this thing. And if you understand area of influence and the area of operations, and your commander allows you to be able to say, like, look, I can't control X. It may be my area of operations, but I can't do it. I can area of influence this place. Okay.
So, and just to back up a bit, what was the date and place you read the manual on
the mini manual of urban warfare?
Yeah,
2000 probably. Let's see, an SPC in 2005, 2004.
2005, 2004. Okay. The date and this was while you were at Quantico.
Yeah, I was at Quantico. I was an SPC. I was perusing through things. Like, this is when I started to get the education thing. Like, I needed to be educated and perusing random things because I was when I was reading that's that same time I was that Shadow of War was going on, and the Shadow of War highlighted that Uruguay incident as it did like 1,000 other insurgencies.
That's War in the Shadows.
Yeah, War in the Shadows, written by a Marine Corps officer who had presented initially to the military that you need to pay attention to counterinsurgency because it's a more prevalent form of warfare, and was told that he was crazy. And so went back and republished it as a 3,400-page document. And
then moving forward to November of '06, and you generate this idea, find your own bad guy. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Oh boy, this is one of those things where, like, as a military officer, you know, you pride yourself on being decisive and theoretical, and like, you know, I've got this thing figured out, and you know, looking down the road to where I'm going to be taking over a company, and my wife, you know, after watching TV, is like, what are you going to do in Iraq? Like, what's your job going to be? Can you describe that to me? And like, you know, you can't get away with telling your wife, like, I'm going to fight a counterinsurgency. You know what I mean? Like, it's complex. You know, like, it's got to be something simple. And I was like, man, I'll be right back. You know, like, give me an hour, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do in Iraq. And I sat there, and I was like, okay, like, I know I need vehicles. I know I need, you know, I gotta have men. The people are important. Like, that doesn't answer the bill. What am I going to do? And then it hit me. It's like, this is horrible, but it's like, it's mob rules. I need to find my own bad guy. I'm not looking for the best good guy because he's probably either already dead or too scared to do anything because, you know, he's got a different set of morals.